Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I want every single person watching right now spam Rebel Montana for being one of the MVPs in the month of June. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, this is a mailbag from our Friday happy hour show. And I'm just going to tell you, if you want to get your weekend kicked off the right way, tune into our Friday happy hour shows every single Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Let's go to a potential new Mount Raidermore member, Patrick B. What up, Patrick B? It seems we finally had a good draft for the first time in forever. I know they need to hit the field, but it was a smart draft by Dave Ziegler. Predictions for the O and D standout rookies. First off, the first standout rookie on the defensive side of the football is going to be Tyree Wilson. There were a lot of NFL GMs, a lot of coaches that had Tyree Wilson graded out as the number one defensive player on their big boards. There were multiple because of his length, because of his athletic ability, his versatility. The amount of strength and power that he has, he's going to be able to line up in front of the center. He's going to be able to line up right next to the defensive tackles. And then you can also split him out super, super wide. If you're a defensive coordinator like Patrick Graham, you got one guy who's Max Crosby, who is a long and athletic freak. And then there's Tyree Wilson, who is longer, giggity. You can make the argument more athletic than Crosby. The reason why Crosby is a lot different is because he has put the work in and he has mastered his craft. And if Tyree does the same thing, good luck trying to defend those two. From the offensive side of the football, the most common answer I'm going to give you is Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer has an instant impact right away to the offense from a blocking standpoint, from a receiving standpoint. The sleeper, though, on the defensive side of the football, I'm either going to say it's Byron Young or I'm going to go with Chris Smith. If Trevon Merrick struggles in this season, entering year 3, watch out for Chris Smith, who is not the most athletic player out there. He's just a good football player, and he finds himself around the football all the freaking time. Let's go to Brandon Jasper here on the Raiders Report. Is Z and McC going to need a visit from me this year? I hope not, Brandon. I hope nobody gets a visit from Brandon Jasper unless it's a good visit. And the only way it happens is if we're 1-10 on the season. Let's go to Alan Spice. Any Raiders that you don't want to make the team bring the team down? I mean, to be 100% honest with y'all, I've talked to a lot of Raiders players in that locker room, and from a people don't like people standpoint, I don't really get that vibe. There's definitely dudes on the roster that are, hey, I wish you would work a little bit harder. And that's like in anything, right? We all have good friends out there, whether we played sports in college, high school, hell, your work colleagues. You could be great friends with them. But we always know, this guy could probably work a little bit harder. It's not that. This locker room, the chemistry that team has in the locker room is a lot more solidified this year, where last season, I had a lot of Raiders players tell me it was divided. It was divided between the guys that are buying into Josh McDaniels and then the guys that wish that Rich Bisaccia was still there. Those players aren't there anymore. So now you're going to buy into what we're doing or else you're probably going to be on the way out. Let's go to C. Sizzle. What up, brother? Will Tyree Wilson be another bust for the Raiders? No. The only way that Tyree Wilson is a bust is if he is unhealthy. And I don't always think that if a player is not able to get out onto the field because they are not healthy, it's not fair to call them a bust. I'm going to call them more unlucky. If you get to see, if Tyree Wilson, is as healthy as what Cleveland Furrow was his first few seasons with the Raiders, we're going to be looking at Wilson as one of the better defensive players in the National Football League, not just on the Raiders. Wilson has the ability to get 10, 12 double-digit sacks every single season. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in year 1, but he's that type of player. If I'm telling you, dudes are not made like Tyree Wilson. But you know what? You guys can let me know, and this is actually going to be the pinned comment on today's show since we've already gotten a super chat and a question about it. Will Tyree Wilson be a bust for the Las Vegas Raiders? Scroll on down and let me know. Type B for bust or type NB for no bust. That's an ultimate giggling. I got Chuggs giggling in my ear. Rate the Raiders defense right now on a scale of 1 to 10. I'd probably give it a 6. There's a lot of unknown commodities in there. But I do think that this Raiders defense has the opportunity to be an 8, to be a 9. And the only way, I know, 9's a big number. But if a lot of their players can figure it out, Merrick's got high upside. Divine Diablo's got high upside. Nate Hobbs, high upside. Marcus Epps is a hell of a player. Tyree Wilson, Chandler Jones, high upside. There is no arguing that this Raiders defense has players with high upside. It's the ability to unlock it. Now, they also have the other side of it, where if guys still can't figure it out, you're going to go from that 6 where I'm at right now, and I'm going to go down to a 3 or a 4, which is kind of where the Raiders were last season. Let's go to Adrian. You're next up here on the Raiders Report, my brother. I was thinking worst case if Renfro isn't just panning out. That was that boot hitting. He could be a good midseason trade to another contending team. I mean, I will say right now, if the Raiders traded Renfro, you're going to get like a 5th round pick, maybe a 6th if they really wanted to get rid of him, get rid of some of that cash. If the Raiders are bad and they aren't using Renfro, or if the Raiders are really good and they're still not using Renfro, then you could potentially see his trade value go up a little bit at the NFL trade deadline. However, if he's playing really well and the Raiders are winning, I don't really see the point in trading him. If the Raiders are playing really well and he's not doing anything, well, then you're not really going to get a lot of value for him. If the Raiders are really freaking bad and he's playing really well, that's when you're going to get the most opportunity for him. I don't see a world that exists where Renfro's putting up crazy stats and the Raiders are, not playing well. Let's go to Daniel Thompson. What up, brother? I know you like Bleacher Report. Did you see Jacobs to the Rams for a second trade idea, yes or no? I did see it. Here at Chat Sports, we have all these different Slack channels, and one of the guys at work put in the Slack like, hey, Mitch, I don't know if you saw this, but Josh Jacobs to the Los Angeles Rams, Chuggs, if you can make the trade graphic on that, that would be great. Overall, though, when you think about it, the Rams have been an aggressive team. They were bad last season. But this is still a team that I would imagine if Matthew Stafford is fully healthy, they believe that they can win now. And maybe I'm crazy for saying that. But the amount of money that they're paying him, I still think that this team, with their offense, believes that they can win now. And this might be the best offer that you're able to get for Jacobs. I will admit the only way that this ends up going down is if it's like Josh says, hey, I want to be the highest paid running back in the National Football League. I want over $16 million. Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler are like, that's just not going to happen. Jacob says, F y'all, I want to be traded. The problem is I just don't see that world existing. But I appreciate the question. Rebel Montana saying no deal. Shout out to Rebel. My question to you out there is, would you do this deal? Who wins it, LV or the Rams? Let me know. I do know this. Anything that happens with Jacobs, if he signs his extension, if he decides to play on the franchise tag, if he ends up getting traded, we're going to make a video about it. And if you believe that Raider Nation is a family, if you think that the nation is a family, type family right now, because it 100% is. Subscribe today. And people who recently just joined our family here, we got Chad Eldridge. We got AM, not PM, hates the PM. We got Rich, Bryson, and Christopher Oliver. Chad, Am, Rich, Bryson, Christopher. See this link down here? Take that link, send it to some Raider fans, and tell them to subscribe to the Raiders Report. Let's go to one of the OGs. What up, Mario? Who is the first of the running backs to fold and strike a deal or hold out? Are you talking about like the guys getting franchise tagged, like Jacobs, Saquon, all those dudes? I do think that Jacobs probably is the dude that ends up getting a deal first. However, negotiations can change all the time. I mean, if you're talking about free agent running backs, I did see that Kareem Hunt has been getting some interest recently from a few NFL teams. Let's go to Brandon Jasper. Chances Tyree Wilson gets more snaps than Jones, even if Wilson is better. If Jones gets more, does come down to us paying Jones. So no matter what, Chandler Jones' deal is locked and loaded. Like, he already took a contract restructure. He makes less money this year. He's got 3 void years, and I've actually explained it before over on Locals. To me, though, I still believe that Chandler ends up probably getting more snaps because the Raiders don't want to rush Tyree Wilson back. They also don't want to put him out to dry right away. Is he ready to play? Yes, but he hasn't played football in a very long time. What I would be more interested in is not so much more snaps overall, but which player is getting more snaps at the end of the year. That is always a lot more important. Now, if you guys don't know, hey, we just launched some brand new Corn the Long Way shirts, and if you want to get your hands on these bad boys, go to chatsports.com/corn. Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers fans all eat corn the long way. The question is, do you have the balls to rock this shirt? If you do, the link's down in the comments. It's down in the description. You can get it at chatsports.com/corn. Let's go to Cruiser. Start Aiden even if Jimmy is recovered. I mean, no, I don't really see why you would do that. You're paying Jimmy Garoppolo $22 million per year. You gave him a lot of guarantees. I don't see why that is the case. Now, if Jimmy Garoppolo fails his physical and then you don't have to pay him the money, I would rather you roll with Aiden OConnell over Brian Hoyer. But the plan is this. Garoppolo starts this season. Brian Hoyer grooms Aiden OConnell. And then, if they believe O'Connell's ready to go in 2024, O'Connell is going to be your Raiders starting quarterback in 2024. If they do not believe that that is the case, they will roll with Jimmy Garoppolo yet again. And then, it's no matter what, Aiden O'Connell's job in 2025. Let's go to Jared Rader. Carr apologized for playing bad last season. Wish they could have made it work. I wish they could have made it work too, because if it would have worked, that means the Raiders win a lot more games. It means the Raiders probably make the playoffs, and it means, probably better things for this channel if I'm being 100% honest with y'all. But at the end of the day, I don't do this show to make people happy. When I was doing the wing eating contest, I looked at both Jermaine and Colton, and I said, hey, you guys might have bad games. My job is to be honest, and if you have a bad game, I got to talk about it, but just know that I will always be in your corner. Same goes for Derek Carr. There has never been a player on this Raiders team that has probably helped my career grow, helped this channel grow more than Derek Carr, and for that reason, I have the utmost respect for that guy. However, my job is to tell y'all the truth. And it was more than time to move on from DC. He's been a mediocre quarterback for a considerably long time. And I'm glad that this Raiders organization did finally move on from him. But it doesn't surprise me that he's apologized. Derek wanted to be a Raider. Derek didn't want to leave. But guess what? Derek also saw all those millions of dollars and said, yeah, I'm going to go to the Saints. So you be the judge right now. Grade Derek Carr's season in 2022. A, B, C, D, or F. This one's going to be interesting. For me, I'm going to give Derek a C, C- grade. He did not play like a top 20 quarterback, and for that reason, you got to give him a C, C- grade. Let's go to Raider Kiko. What's your confidence level in Jimmy Garoppolo if he plays all the games this season? I do have a lot of confidence in Garoppolo to be able to execute Josh McDaniels' offense. However, though, there comes with expectations, right? Like, if Garoppolo plays all 17 and has a phenomenal season, he throws for 27 touchdowns. With this offense, 27 touchdowns, it's not nearly enough. Like, you got Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfro, the best running back in the league, and Josh Jacobs, Austin Hooper, Michael Mayer. Your quarterback should be able to do a lot more. But Garoppolo has limitations. That's just the truth. I will also admit that Garoppolo with Kyle Shanahan, I don't think that Shanahan's offense is all that friendly for a quarterback like Garoppolo, which did lead to some of his injuries, which probably led to some of his lower numbers. They also had a great defense, so he didn't have to throw as much. I do think that Jimmy can execute this offense, but I'm sitting here saying all 17 games, Jimmy plays great. You're looking at a 10-win season for the Raiders. Probably nothing more than that. Let's go to Robert. With all the positive talk about Cleveland Furrow getting serious about balling out, do you think he's going to open some eyes this season? So, open some eyes? Probably not. Be better than what's expected? Yeah, I think what Cleveland Furrow is going to do is exactly what Arden Key did, where he's not going to light the world on fire, but he's probably going to be better in another system. I mean, from what it sounds like, he's having himself a hell of a camp. And if he can get 4 or 5 sacks, that's great for him. Remember the year Solomon Thomas had with the Raiders back in 2021? He was a disaster with the 49ers. Comes to the Raiders and gets a brand new chance. It's like, I'm going to use this example, and Alex is going to hate me for this. Imagine dating a girl for a long time. When you break up, guess what? A lot of times that girl or that guy hits the gym and they try to get in the best shape of their life. That's what Clee's doing right now. He's trying to prove people wrong. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's trying to prove it out there. But that still is not quite enough because Cleveland Furrow is a very average to below average NFL player. If you guys want to interact with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all available, and Cameo at Mitchell Renz 365. And on top of that, if you want more live shows, you can head over to locals at RaidersReport.locals.com. All right, Nation, that was today's mailbag. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And if you're watching this live, we're about to get pretty wild here on the show. So hopefully y'all are ready to let your hair down a little bit because I don't know about y'all, I'm definitely ready to let my hair down.